Hello, beautiful. Welcome to day 7. Day 7 of the Emergency Medical Folder Challenge. Today, we are talking about how to organize all of your important papers easily and how to make sure that your emergency medical folder stays accurate and is backed up. So, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Suzanna Kaye, professional organizer, if you don't already know me, and the Emergency Medical Folder Challenge is running July 25th through 31st of 2022. The link to register is on our challenge schedule page, which is listed in the video description. So the challenge, we are building our emergency medical folder. So we are always prepared if we had to go to the hospital, a doctor, first responders have to come to the home, or if there is an emergency in our home. So that is our goal for this week. Today is Sunday. It's the last day of the challenge. So hopefully you've downloaded your worksheets. Hopefully you have gathered your supplies. Maybe you've even put it all together and have started filling it in. No matter what, just remember, it's just one small step at a time. There's no deadline. This is a process, not a project, right? So don't stress yourself out. Fill in what you can, as much as you can, when you can, and keep chipping away at it. Maybe every day, pick 2 lines of the worksheets to fill in, right? Just fill in 2 lines at a time or 1 page. Try to break this down into smaller steps if you find that you don't have the time to just sit down and knock it all out. The nice thing with the emergency medical folder, most of this information you probably know off the top of your head or can get really quickly. So it should not take very long at all. And as soon as you have a little bit of information in it, it starts to help immediately. So you're doing amazing. All right. So all of the challenge content is going to be available until August 7th. So even though the challenge ends today on July 31st, there's one more week that I will leave the challenge schedule page up, which has all the replays, the daily tasks, the downloads, all the information. So you'll be able to access that whole challenge schedule page and all the content that it links to until August 7th. So you've got one more week because I know we are busy, aren't we? Right? And do me a favor and share this video. Share this video, share the challenge with other people as well. So you can share that challenge schedule page. The more people have their emergency medical folder set up, the better. And if you share it, let me know in the comments. I love to hear when people share these videos, and I like to thank you personally. All right, so let's hop right in. Today we are talking first off about making sure that your emergency medical folder is always accurate. Now, the easiest ways to do this is, first off, set a reminder to update it occasionally. You know, maybe you update it. It depends on how often things change for you. But for me, I like to update it especially once a year. So I use my birthday as kind of the time. That's when I get my flu shot. It's when I go in and do my annual doctor's visits. So it's a perfect time for me to also remember to look through the emergency medical folder and make sure that there's nothing that has changed. Then another way to do it is when new information comes in, you can update it right then, or sometimes I use this pocket folder if new information comes in, and I just tuck that into that pocket folder until I'm able to actually hop over with the pen and update the page itself. So when new information comes in, try to at least get it into the folder, even if you can't fully enter it in the folder, but tuck it in the folder so that way it's all there if you need it. And then another thing that I do, I told you earlier this week about how I like to kind of make a short, simple way of managing the prescription information. So for me, instead of writing it on the page, I just tuck these little slips that you get from the pharmacy into a pocket folder. So whenever I put a new one in, that's when I look through all of the ones that are there and make sure that those are accurate still, because that's usually the thing that changes the most throughout the year. So whenever a new one comes in, I just double check those. That helps me to keep them accurate as well. I like to use the inserts instead of printouts and handwriting it, just because the inserts do have a lot more information about the medication. But you could also just every once in a while ask for a printout from your pharmacy of all your prescriptions, or if you have one of those apps like MyChart, download it from there and put that into your emergency medical folder. All right, so tell me in the comments really quickly. I would love to hear, are you a paper person or digital person, or are you both? I know me, I'm both. I like both paper and digital. So I work with things with paper, and then I store a lot of things digitally. So I like with my emergency medical folder, I have the paper version because I need that for a quick grab and go, right? If you just have it on a USB drive, that does not really help very much if they don't have a computer to read that on very easily. So having paper version of this or of my important papers binder, super helpful for me. And then I store my backups and my archive copies, I store digitally. So let me know what you're like in the comments, but that leads us into backing it up. Because if you've just gone through all the work of filling this out, we want to make sure to protect that information, right? That's why having the digital PDF is so helpful. So when you downloaded these worksheets, having that file, you can type your information into that file and save that file as your backup copy in case something were to happen to the printed copy. You can keep it on a USB drive. Sometimes I keep one of the drives in the actual pocket folder itself, and then in the cloud or on my computer, I would have another version, another copy of that digital file. So that way there's a backup, because I don't want to lose the digital copy with the printed copy. Then you've lost both of them, right? So having the USB drive here so that you can quickly update it, but then having a backup in another location is really helpful. If you are only printing it out and handwriting into it, if you're just not into technology and digital storage at all, that's absolutely fine. What you might want to do is once you fill it out, photocopy each of the pages and keep it maybe in your file cabinet or something like that, or in your Spark Life binder or your important papers binder. So that way, if you lose the main copy, you still have all of that saved. And then every once in a while, just photocopy it again as a backup whenever you have major updates. So we talked about what? We talked about making sure that it's always accurate, how to keep it updated, right? And we talked about backing it up. So the final thing I just wanted to remind you, you can use this same type of system for all of your important information. Now, whether you do it yourself and build your own binder from scratch, or if you grab the Spark Life binder and just save the work and have the worksheets already done for you, either way is fine. It's just really important that not only do you have your quick grab emergency medical information at your fingertips, but it's so important to have all of your important information somewhere that both you and your loved ones can find it in case they need it, right? So you can take the same concept of the emergency medical folder where you have the worksheets. The nice thing is with the worksheets, if you grab something like the Spark Life binder, these are done for you. If you're creating your own, create your own worksheets. It's really helpful to, have the question basically and the blank to enter it into, because then as you're filling it out, it becomes brainless. You're just answering the questions. Because if we can take our brain out of the system, we're going to do so much better at completing it. And a lot of times when we aren't sure what information to include or how to organize it, that's what slows us down and shuts us down, right? So having worksheets, whether you create your own or you buy the Spark Life binder, which is over 100 pages of worksheets where you're just filling in the blanks, is going to help you out. So it's that same concept. Take your brain out of the system, and then you know not only what information you need, but when it's time to update it, it's super easy to update, right? So having one place to store all of that important information is super helpful. Not only because, it's really helpful for us. I know for me, I love that when I'm on my computer and they ask what my driver's license number is for something that I'm working on, or if something comes up and I need my insurance policy number, that I love that I can just grab my binder and it's right there. It gives me a sense of peace and confidence knowing that I have all the information that I might possibly need at my fingertips instead of trying to find it in a file drawer or in a pile or not being sure if I have the most up-to-date information. Having it all in one place is helpful. But even more helpful than that, one of the things that sparked me to create this is my parents, knowing that if something happened to my parents and I had to care for them or take over care of their affairs because something happened, then, or God forbid, if they weren't here, then I would know exactly how to access anything that needs to be accessed. I would need to know all the important information, and I would know what their preferences are, what's important in the home, where are the heirlooms, what are their passwords for their devices that I might need to get into. I would have everything. So just as a daughter, I know that this is such a relief for me, and it's such a relief for me as a stepmom and a wife to know that my stepdaughter and my husband, if something were to happen to me, I'm the main keeper of the information. So knowing that they would be able to access everything that they need because I have it in one place is such a relief. So do it for yourself. Do it for anybody who might need the information if you're not able to give the information. That way you can take like a 7-week trip to Tahiti and not tell anybody where you went. And it's okay because they can fend for themselves. They've got the information. But putting together your own important papers binder is really going to help you have everything that you need in case of any situation that comes up, not just a medical emergency. And you want it to be quick grab. So yes, we have a lot of this information in the file cabinet, but if it's in the file cabinet, you can't grab that and go. If there was an emergency, like a fire or something like that, you can't grab that and go. Also, your family might not know exactly which file it's in the file cabinet, because we don't all think the same. How I would file something in a file drawer is very different from how my husband would. He'd be looking for the word car, and I would have filed it under automobile, and it would take him a lot longer, and he'd probably get frustrated. So this way, there's no question. It's all clearly organized for everybody to be able to access. Plus, I can get my hands on the information much faster than if it was in a file drawer, for sure. So you have two choices. If you want to get all of your important information organized into a binder, you can join me for the free Important Papers workshop. So this week, this upcoming week, through August 7th, or actually through August 6th, is the free Important Papers workshop. So this workshop, I will teach you how to build your own Important Papers binder from scratch. So if you don't want to grab the Spark Life binder, that is okay. I will teach you step by step how to build the binder, where to store it and keep it safe, all of the information that you would need to know so that you can create your own system from scratch. So that's happening. There are 3 sessions this upcoming week. They're August 2nd, 4th, and 6th. So when you click on the registration page, you can pick which session works for you. And if you can't attend live, there is a replay available afterwards for a limited amount of time. Now, if you do attend live, then you will get my free How Long to Keep Important Documents guide with how long to keep various documents. It's a really good guide. So if you can't attend live, I highly recommend it. Then the other option is until August 7th. So for this week only, you can buy the Spark Life binder. You can either buy it printed. It'll look very much like this. It'll have sections for each person in your family and have dividers already for them that you just put their names on it, mailed right to you in full color, already assembled with an emergency medical folder as well. Or you can get the digital copy where it's the fillable PDFs. You'll have all the worksheets that you can type into. And the nice thing with the digital copy, that way you'll have a backup, a digital backup of it. And you also can print out any sheets that you need to whenever you want to update it. If one gets messy because you've erased and rewritten too many times, then you can easily print up a new one. The nice thing also with the digital, you always get the most current version. So whenever there's an update to the core binder itself, it's automatically updated in your online library. So if you own the digital copy, then you always get the updates as well. You can also get both. So there is an option for both the print and the digital. They work really well together because the print gets you going and it's already assembled so you can hit the ground running. And then the digital is just a great backup and all the updates. So this is available only through August 7th. After August 7th, the Spark Life binder will not be available again until next year because I like to be here to make sure to support people. There's a lot of the printing and assembling process that goes on, so we can only offer it twice a year. So make sure if you're interested, you can click the link in the video description, or you could just go to SuzannaKaye.com and click on store, and it'll be there until August 7th. So as a recap, we talked about making sure that your emergency medical folder is always accurate, right? So set reminders to update your emergency medical folder, whether it's on your calendar or you use your birthday or New Year's or a specific date to remind you to update it. When new information comes in, make sure, even if you can't actually write it in right away, at least put the information into your folder, right? And then a lot of times with me, when I'm adding a new prescription, that's the thing that changes the most, right? So when I add a new prescription, I just eyeball and make sure that all the rest of the prescription information in the folder is accurate too. Then we talked about backing it up. So having a digital copy along with your printed copy is really helpful when backing it up. So you can keep it on a backup of the digital copy on a USB drive. If you wanted to, you could keep it on your computer hard drive. But if you have that digital copy, it's a perfect backup to your printed copy. Now, if you are only doing print, that is absolutely fine. Just make sure to do a photocopy of it and keep it in a separate location. And every once in a while, photocopy it if there have been major changes, so you have a backup. And then we talked about creating one place for all of your important papers. So creating your own important papers binder so that both you, pardon the puppy, so both you and your loved ones can access the information you need easily. That is such a huge relief. That's usually the thing that stresses us out about our papers the most anyway, right? We're worried about the piles because we're worried about what important information might be in there and if we can find it when we need it. So creating a binder, whether you create your own from scratch, and I can help you do that in the Important Papers Workshop, which is free, or if you grab the Spark Life Binder, either way, I highly encourage you to consider doing that. And you could do it one step at a time. It does not have to be a huge project, right? If you grab the Spark Life Binder, then maybe once a week you fill in one page and you'll be done with it before you know it. You don't have to make it into a huge project. It's a process, not a project. But you've got this, all right? So if you did want to grab your Spark Life Binder, you can go to the store at SuzannaKaye.com or click the link in the video description. And if you wanted to join me for the Important Papers Workshop to learn how to build your own binder, then there are only 3 sessions available. The last one's on August 6th. Click the link in the video description. And finally, if you've missed anything with the challenge, don't worry. Check out the challenge schedule page. Oh. Got the puppies here. Check out the challenge schedule page. It has all the replays, all the tasks. It will be available until August 7th. So check that out. If there's any link that I mentioned that you missed, it's also on the challenge schedule page. And keep being amazing. I will see you very, very soon. You're doing great. Remember, one small step at a time, and you've got this. I love you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.